The perfect nighttime routine over 40. Now, the reason I can use the word perfect is the simplicity of action steps. We've done some really big deep dives into sleep quality before and after, working with thousands of clients to improve their quality of health, energy, focus throughout the day. Sleep is a huge part of it, and we focus so much on nutrition and training being these key parts to improving body composition and performance. And we completely forget how much there's a yin and yang to everything we do. If we're pushing harder, we need to recover harder. And being able to look at the space of productivity and focus, we first have to give ourselves the ability to have the capacity to actually be productive to start with. So what I want to share with you in this training is a quick run through of a very simple but very effective formula that we've used with thousands of clients that you can also install. Now, if you want access to this whole training, if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you access to the direct guide that walks you through this whole process as well, to really show you every single step that you can install, a full checklist of things you can do to improve that full wind down, that full nighttime routine, and of ultimately sleep quality. So if you do struggle with sleep quality, you do have an issue with blood pressure or blood sugar, you're having a hard time dropping body fat, you're stressed and you're really finding it hard to wind down at the end of the day, all of these will be a big part of starting your day with sleep. And this is a key part that I talked through with a client the other day, and they really loved the concept that apparently I said at some point, but a great day starts with sleep. And a really nice way to just refine that focus, because if you're trying to start the day when you've woken up, there's already a lot of things on the back foot. And if you can spend that time today to make a great night's sleep to show up better tomorrow, that really allows us to put a lot more things in control. Because when we've got that ability to create some simple frameworks, key steps that we need to be able to tick off, that allows us to have a very simple focus to make sure that we can win tomorrow. So what I want to walk you through is our simple formula, and the simple numbers I want you to remember is 10, 3, 2, 1. All right, if you can remember 10, 3, 2, 1, then this whole formula is going to make sense. Now, 10 is not the most fun, and then 3, 2, 1, I promise, is a little bit more fun. 10 is simply the amount of hours before bed I want you to stop having caffeine. Now, there's a variation in how quick people synthesize some level of this caffeine, but it is a really general rule to make sure that 10 hours before bed, we're giving ourselves time to actually wind down. The big thing with caffeine is that it's not actually giving us energy, it's just stopping us going to sleep. So it's a really in-between balance where certainly when you notice, and I'm sure you've had it yourself, where you're being really, really tired, you've had a ton of caffeine, and you don't feel really energetic, but you just can't go to sleep. And by having that signal always constant in the body, it really gets in the way of good quality sleep. So giving yourself 10 hours, nice simple one, simple not easy, to be able to give yourself without caffeine. Now, the number 3 is an important one from more of a digestive standpoint, is 3 hours before bed is when I want you to stop eating and or drinking if there's any alcohol involved. Again, we don't want to be having alcohol too often, but if we are, giving yourself time to actually synthesize that, allow your liver to get through it a little bit more, will make a significant difference in your sleep quality. Now, for me, I've tracked this a lot for both me and a lot of clients, where if you're digesting food or you're eating too close to bed and therefore continuing to digest food, it's really going to make a big difference to your quality of sleep, because your core temperature will be a lot higher and your body's still working on trying to break down that food rather than allowing yourself to fall into these deeper quality sleep. So if you do struggle with getting that depth of both REM and deep sleep, then looking at your time before bed with that last meal makes a big difference. As an additional bonus here that we see all of the time, certainly if you're trying to drop body fat, you're a high functioning human throughout the day, carbohydrates in that last meal can make a really, really big difference. For many of us, we've heard somewhere on the internet that no carbs after 6 is a good idea, but if you're exercising, you're healthy, and you've had a busy day, then having some sort of carbohydrates in that last meal can make a significant difference to calming the nervous system. And when being able to target certain processes or being able to time certain nutrients throughout the day, that really has a significant impact. And we've certainly found that, as we've talked about in previous trainings with typically keeping carbs out of breakfast and really trying to sustain energy and focus throughout the day, we see that those carbohydrates later in the day can have a really big impact on recovery and calming that nervous system down to get ready for bed. So just a bit of a bonus, but number 3 is 3 hours before bed, we're stopping eating, drinking. Number 2 is where we start to dive into where we wind down from work. If we haven't already, those highly stimulating activities where you're planning out the following day, you're replying to certain emails, you're strategizing in some form, there's a lot of brain activity where you need to start to wind things down. Now, this one is a huge one if you notice that you wake up in the early hours in the morning, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, where you wake up with quite a cortisol spike. And how you know if it's more of a cortisol awakening is when you feel awake and you feel quite alert, and it's quite hard for you to go back to sleep. If you wake up with a higher heart rate or simply the inability to wind back down, this could be something that is quite relevant for you. Giving yourself 2 hours before bed to reduce those stimulating activities and do some form of brain dump. What I mean by that is get those ideas out of your head and put it on a piece of paper. I'm a huge fan of looking at some form of consolidating ideas, getting an idea of building that into some sort of list of just ideas out of your head, and then becoming more of a, okay, what days am I going to think about this? What days can I really dive in? Or do I just need to write it down and then I feel much better because of it? When you give yourself that 2 hours before bed to actually get away from those sort of higher intensity activities, it makes a significant difference to the quality of sleep, or the ability to get to sleep for one, and then the ability to not wake up in the early hours of the morning, which we've dove into in other trainings. Beyond that sort of 5 or 6 hours, if you're waking up really alert, this can be a really big one. So some form of finishing the day with consolidating the ideas, being able to really switch off, is a big part of why I'm a fan of time blocking throughout the day, really using our calendar to consolidate what your focus points are, as well as that ability to switch off at the end, which we can give you access to as well. And number one, it's always the hardest one, is 1 hour before bed without screens. Giving yourself this world of artificial lights and disrupting our circadian rhythm to a level we're not even aware of. We live under some form of artificial light 95% of the time, if not more. Our body doesn't know what time of day it is anymore. And knowing that the body has this natural circadian rhythm that very much linked and regulated through the sun, we have a natural increase in these blue lights in the morning and a natural decrease in blues and more of an increase in reds and oranges in the sun in the night. It makes it, or at least in the afternoon and the evening, that gives our brain an ability to know when to be awake, when to be alert, and when to start to wind down. Whereas if we're constantly under all of these screens and lights all the time, our body never knows when to calm down, and we stay in this tired but wide space where our body's not able to know when it's awake, really properly awake, and when we start to wind down. So being able to look at this around a couple key steps would be giving yourself an hour without screens, right? Your TVs, your laptops, your phones, giving yourself time truly to both from a brightness and a color standpoint. There's a lot of talk around blue light glasses, which I'm a fan of. I use quite regularly myself, having certain filters on your computers, etc., to reduce some of that blue light. And certainly I think that has a big impact. I personally just notice a lot less strain on my eyes when I take care of that blue light exposure. And of course, it has a little bit of impact to sleep quality. But when we start to look at the light measurement through lux in regards to how bright it is in the eye, there's still a significant portion there as well. So really reducing the light overall, sticking to, at the very extreme, candlelight would be amazing. And when I've tested this, my sleep quality has been fantastic. But really just getting rid of a lot of these whiter, or in some cases that blue tinge to the lights, or very bright lights in those last couple of hours of the night, as well as that screens being a huge one. If you can give yourself an hour before bed, that's one of these things that you don't need a week to improve your sleep. It will make a difference to your sleep tonight, because it's that direct signal to your brain telling you to be awake. When you remove that, you can give your body the opportunity to start winding down. That can make a really big difference. So the big thing with light, and I think is the one that's not talked about enough, to truly make this actionable, it's not just about what you don't do, it's what you do instead. What are some activities that you can bring in order to improve that last hour of the night? Well, for the first part, if you start reducing screens, you're probably going to be more connected to your partner. You may have more sex. The second part here is that you can look at reading. You can look at setting up and preparing for the following day. So there might be being able to look at preparing your lunch, or you might be looking at simply putting your gym gear out. All of these components that can be those little activities that prepare you for the next day and make the most of what's coming through. But even though I said it jokingly, that ability to look at intimacy with your partner, the ability to start to wind down, spend more time together. The amount of studies I've seen from more of a relationship standpoint, where we spend less than 30 minutes of quality time with our partner. We might sit next to them at the TV, but we don't ever really talk to them. And I think that ability to look at how much both connection and sleep quality go together, that's also a big topic, but for another day. Looking at that formula, we have our 10, 3, 2, 1. The ability to look at that through the 3 and 4 things that you can tweak, refine in your nighttime routine to improve how you show up the next day, Simple, not easy, but the ability to identify key actions that you can improve to improve your sleep quality, this becomes the key focus. So as mentioned at the start of the video, or as promised, if you want access to this full nighttime routine, you want to see the full A to Z list of my checklist to improve my nighttime routine, as well as some of the key things to improve your sleep environment / quality of sleep, comment sleep below, and we'll send you through that full guide A to Z on what to do to both really install this framework while also help self-diagnose certain components of sleep quality that we may be able to improve, target, and refine further. I hope you enjoyed this. It's been a training that from a coaching perspective I talk about most weeks, but the ability to really look at that lens through what are some simple formulas, this becomes very actionable, very easy for you to install, and I hope you find it helpful. I hope you have a great week, team. This has been a busy old week. It is Anzac Day today here, and quite a few calls that if I was more proactive with checking my week, I probably wouldn't have on, but it's been a good old day so far. So I hope you're enjoying it. We'll see you next time. Bye.